Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Zombicide Invader unboxing. This is for the Dark Side Extras Kickstarter pack. So, like during the Kickstarter campaign, if you had ordered the Dark Side standalone set, you could have also gotten the extras that went with it, which are meant to be played with that set. So, now, could you pick this up outside of the game if you didn't own the Darksiders? You could, but you wouldn't be super helpful, because this basically adds this additional minis and characters. I should say some of it would, some of it wouldn't. We'll go over the content and I'll kind of explain as we go there. So the first thing we're going to get is this extra little booklet here for Zombicide Operation Persephone, or Persephone maybe. So it's 10 missions combining the Invaders and Darksiders sets. So the idea of this is we're going to get a new Xeno in here, and we'll go over his abilities in a minute. We're going to get some new companions. So both of those could be used regardless. And then we're going to get a bunch of extra missions. So we're going to have 5 additional extra missions in here, which are going to use components from both games. So they're going to have extra spawn zones, they're going to have both the mold and the pits, extra objective tokens, and then stuff from this campaign. So if you only had Invader and then you picked up this set, you wouldn't be able to play any, most of these missions. I won't say any of them, you probably wouldn't be able to play any of them, because they all have the pits and some of the dark side tiles. And vice versa. If you only picked up Darksider and you picked up this expansion but you didn't own Invader, you wouldn't be able to use this because you wouldn't have lots of these stuff from the base game. So this would require to have both for the purpose of the missions and doing the maps, as well as a majority of the miniatures in here, because they're additional units from the Darksiders game. Now, the brand new one, the Driller, and then the Companions, could be used in both. That doesn't matter because we have all the correct components for them. Yeah, this will have a bunch of extra missions. You'll have 10 of them. So you get 10 brand new missions, which combine them, which are really nice. Because previously, or at least most of the Zombicide games, the only way to get crossover missions is by going to the CMON website, and they have online missions they post, which then utilize if people have some of the various expansions. This is really cool that they actually make like an official one. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and jump in and look at some of the components for this. So, first of all, I'm going to zoom way up on here. Hopefully we can see these. We are going to get 4 of each of these brand new poses for the Driller. Why did I forget what they were called? The Driller. They're the base ones. The Workers. Yeah, the Workers. So if you had Darkside, you would have gotten your 5 different models with then, 7 each, so 35 total. This will give you an additional 8 total, but gives you 2 different new poses. Very much like the Kickstarter set for the Civilian pack for the Invader set did, is it gave you extra additional models for each of the Xenos in that set as well. Yeah, so you get 8 more of them. You'll also get 4 more of the Hunters, which are your fast guys, and 4 more of your tanks, which are the big guys. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. So you get an extra 4 of each of them. Just some extra, so if you're playing a little bit harder modes, they'll be around a little bit longer. It just gives you extra kind of, cool things. You get, extra miniatures, plus the different poses are fun. Then we will get 1 extra of this big dude here, which, oh boy, I don't remember what his name was. This is the one, this is the Pit Abomination. Driller Abomination. Oh, he's the one that forms the pits. So kind of like again, going back to the Kickstarter exclusives, zoom up a little bit there. The Kickstarter exclusive set for the civilian pack, which added extra content for Invader, which gave us an extra spore abomination. This is going to get us the extra driller abomination. So if you're combining both of them and both Kickstarter sets, you're going to have a lot of extra miniatures to do for hard mode, but you could potentially also have 2 of each of the guys that are going to spawn the molds and the pits, which should make these missions a lot harder because then they'll activate twice as often. But that's really cool that you get an option to have them additional versions of those characters. Alright, then we're going to look at the brand new driller. So we're only going to get 3 of each of these, but we're going to get the 2 different poses. So 6 total. And then we'll also get the 3 easy mode spawn cards, which we'll look at those in a second. Yeah, so this guy's a big brute. Oh, yeah, so you get 3 of one, 3 of the other, for a total of 6. And then we'll get the spawn cards, so you'll get the 3 easy versions, which have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the 3 versions of the hard, which are 2, 2, 4, and 6. So you can eventually summon all 6 of them. What do the driller guys do? See, the blitzers do. The blitzers are basically a combination of the hunter and the tank. They have 2 actions and take 2 damage and deal 2 damage and provide 1 experience. So, like the tank, they have 2 health and deal 2 damage. So they're big, bulky guys, they do a lot of damage. But like the hunter, they also have 2 actions. So they get a potentially either attack twice, move twice, or move and then attack. They share the same targeting priority as tanks. So the big and beefy, you can still consider them tanks for any of the purpose there. And then their actions work the same way as the hunters do. Yeah, so pretty fun. So basically, if you can get extra hard mode, you can add these bigger guys in there as well. They're gonna chase you down, but then they're also gonna be harder to defeat. And then they also follow the driller rule, or the driller rules of having the pits if they're standing on top of an open pit. Ranged damage has to do 1 extra, so that gives them basically 3 health. Makes him as powerful as an abomination. So that sucks. Alright, so that's our new abomination. Let's look at the other new characters we got. I'm going to put all 3 of them up here at the same time. So these will have a new special back on there. These are scientists. So these are companions. So what they do is basically they're essentially non-playable characters. They're not your regular survivors. They don't have a full board or anything. You can't control them. But what you can do is you can escort them around. So any survivor can pick one of these guys up, and they become the leader. You can have multiple, so you could actually bring around all 3 of them. Or if you're playing any other game that has any other Zombicide, you're mixing and matching stuff that has more survivor companions, you can bring them with too. But then while they're following you, they give you extra abilities. And there's a lot of missions in this. A lot of the missions in here do involve these scientists having to find them, and then escorting them out of the building, or somewhere special. So, in the middle here, we have Lucas Pravelis, who's our tactical expert, who gives the leader combat reflex skill, which means when a Xenos spawns in line of sight, take a free combat action against them. So, as long as you're a leader, you have that ability. So, this is really fun, because there's not a lot of things that give out extra abilities in the game. So, it's kind of cool that you could give anyone this extra ability. And now these guys can also be traded like equipment, essentially. So if I'm currently the leader for Lucas, I could be in the same area as another survivor. I could trade him off, and that person will become the leader. I put the miniature next to their survivor, as well as I hand them the card. A couple other things to note about the scientists: they are considered a survivor, which means they count as noise. So, if a Xeno can't see something, it goes towards the noisiest zone, so it'll go after the space with multiple miniatures. These guys count as an additional noise for that. If they're eliminated upon receiving any damage, so they only essentially have 1 health, and the game is lost if they're eliminated, so they're treated like a survivor in that sense too. They always stay together with their leader. All special rules and move-related skills also apply to the scientists. Benefit from any oxygen tanks their leader may be equipped with. So if you get to the O2 areas for the invader, and you pick up an oxygen tank, essentially you're saying you grab one for your scientists as well. You don't have to try and stand there and pick out 3 of them if you have 3. If you're following all 3 of these guys, they'll just have it. But it also means that if you have 0G run, or hit and run, or sprint, or any of the movement abilities that let you move additional spaces, these guys will just move with you. They just stick right next to you no matter what. Yeah, so pretty much easy there. If they're in a mission, though, by themselves, you have to spend an action point to rally them with you to have them follow you. So it's either trade them or basically pick them up off the board. You'd have to spend 1 action point. Alright. Then we have, let's look at our next one here. We have Dr. Marcus DeVries, who says the leader may use the following ability once each time they activate, spending action to gain 3 XP. So this could be very helpful for you to catch up. Maybe if you have one of the survivors that's fallen behind, maybe they haven't been doing as much combat, or they've been trying to escort these guys around, so they haven't been killing anything, so they're just trying to make sure they don't die by an errant hit. Yeah, you could use this, and you can also trade that off, hey, this guy got up, I got up to yellow, or I got up to orange. Now you can trade them off to somebody else and let them use it for a couple turns, trying to get back up to orange. Definitely very powerful for these, the hard mode missions in this book, because you'll be playing longer. If you can get up definitely into your orange, maybe even into your red, it can probably really help you survive a lot easier with them extra skills. And then our last one is Olive Hayes, who's our explorer. So the leader gets +1 free search action. This will help you find stuff a lot quicker. So again, this benefit maybe very early on, so that you can just collect items a little bit easier. Would also work very well with the dark side, because they're all soldiers, so none of them can search anything other than security areas, unless they have their drone with them. So either having her follow the character, the drone, so that way you can search even better with that, or even if you don't and you give it to someone that has the security, at least when they get to security, they can search a lot quicker, or find stuff more often and not have to spend as many turns, since it already took enough turns to get to that area. Sorry, I'm going to zoom up on these guys quick. So we got the 3 of them there. This should always be something to me would be a very fun or interesting, if they ever came back to something like this and they made additional content, it'd be kind of neat just to make these guys with survivor cards. Make them civilians, maybe give them a little bit weaker, not weaker abilities, we could give them these abilities as well, but hey, maybe after they survived these missions, they became explorers. Is my doctor missing an arm, or is it just, it's just back behind there by her backpack? It looked like she was missing her arm for a moment there, which would have been crazy. So then the last thing just to mention about this particular set is crossover set card management. So it just says, if you're playing these missions, keep your equipment piles from Zombicide Invader and Darkside separate. Draw from the Invader equipment pile when searching the Invader tiles, and draw from the Darksider pile when searching the Darkside tiles. Mix all your Xeno cards from both together to create your Xeno pile, and then extra activation cards apply to all Xenos, so Worker, Hunter, Tank, no matter what standard or driller type. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting there. So it's just keep in mind that while you're playing them, also, there's nothing in here that specifies what Xenos you have to use. So although these are somewhere medium to hard difficulties, you could choose to include the Blitzers, the new Blitzers, if you wanted to. But if you choose not to, don't. If you don't want to include multiple, like, again, if you pick up this set and you had maybe the Kickstarter stuff from the other one, you wouldn't have to include 2 of both of the Abominations. You could just say, hey, I only have 1 of each. And then you don't have to summon 1. I would almost say you want to include 1 of each, though, the Driller and the Spore, just because they're going to activate the tiles on the board, because every single map on here has active Spore tiles and open pits. So if you weren't using both, it would really make one of them kind of pointless. But it's also fun. It gives you another reason to mix all your prototypes. Now you have 7 prototype weapons. It would have been cool if they were throwing like 1 or 2 more in here as well. And then you also, of course, you have your bot and your sentry. So even if you just own the 2 base sets, you have 2 of each. So you have to pick which one you want to use on each map. As well as you would have, if you have the other Kickstarter box, you could have a 3rd set. And then if you have the other expansions from the other Invader sets, you can also mix them and add these guys in there too. So definitely a lot of extra interesting content in this little tiny box if you're thinking of picking it up. Alright, see you guys in the next video. Bye.